Testimony. I now recognize the ranking member, the gentleman from New York, Mr. Kennedy, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you again, Chairman, and thank you to all of you once again for your leadership, for being here, for your testimony. It's extremely important. Also to those of you who are military veterans, thank you for answering the call. FEMA's preparedness grant program, I talked a little bit about FEMA and the issues that we're dealing with from this administration in my opening remarks. The State Homeland Security Program and the Urban Area Security Initiative are part of those preparedness grant programs. This is funding that's critical for activities of biodefense, including our first responders and detection technology, public health systems. Yet this year, we saw grant funding frozen. Delayed applications, withheld information about funding awards, cuts in many areas, including to urban areas that depend on this funding, as well as failed timely information about requirements. So this question is for you, Dr. George. How do these delays and freezes, lack of transparency, impact localities and states' ability to plan and build capacity to defend against these biological and agro-terrorist threats?
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. I have to say that the way the system has been set up to date, those activities, planning, preparedness, preparing specifically for response and recovery and mitigation, they are dependent on FEMA grant funding as well as grant funding from other departments and agencies. As I said earlier, it takes two things in order to get the states, the locals, the tribes, and the territories to be able to take on more responsibility and to execute on those plans. They need time and they need money. Now, if someone has decided that the grant funding has to decrease and has to go away, then the states can step up and they can backfill, but they're not going to be able to do it very quickly. So I suggest to you that even putting into the budget specifically the budget request and some of the other documents that have come out, statements saying that the funding needs to be cut is a clear indication to others outside of our country that now we've created a vulnerability that the states are going to try and fill, but they're not going to be able to fill very quickly.
Thank you, Dr. George. Your organization, the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense, released a report last year outlining a national blueprint in biodefense. Can you talk about that report and the findings of the report, and as well as what the funding means to the localities and their ability to respond to biological threats?
Sure, sir. So yes, our National Blueprint for Biodefense is here, and it's obviously way too large for anybody to absorb all at once, but it's a compendium of all of our recommendations over the years since we were implemented in 2014 and our first blueprint in 2015. Some of our findings I covered earlier in terms of the threat. The biological threat, including the food and agriculture threat, has only increased since 2014. So it's been 11 years of steady increase. We now have new threats on the horizon. AI combined with bio, as you all know, bio and chemistry becoming increasingly similar. The rise of the use of toxins to attack people, not just for assassination, but for other purposes. All of that is on the rise, as is this interest in offensive biological weapons programs by foreign adversaries. In terms of the impact on the ability of the states, locals, tribes, and territories to respond, you have a threat environment, we have increasing vulnerabilities, and we have consequences that are huge and just simply not mitigated. And they can't be mitigated by grants all by themselves.
Dr. George, just for the sake of time, what happens and what is the risk if that funding disappears?
If the funding disappears, I think we're at risk of being attacked. period. And then we have a giant problem. We have a problem that Congress itself is going to have to step in to solve with emergency appropriations. But I think an event could get away from us very quickly. When it comes to food and agriculture, you're not talking about something that would be constrained, like if we just dumped some chemicals somewhere. It would spread all throughout the United States, and not only affect our economic and national security here, but it would affect economic and national security throughout the world.
Thank you, Chairman. I yield.